Hey everyone, welcome to track two of today at Juneteenth Conf. I hope everyone has been enjoying all the sessions we've heard so far. There's been a lot of great information, a lot of wonderful speakers. So, we're just going to keep the conversation going here in track two. Next up, we're going to have Ken Granderson and also Dale Dowie, and they're going to talk to us about Blackfacts and the Wakandan technology platform. So I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to let these gentlemen go ahead and take control.
Thank you very much, Cecil. So my name is Ken Granderson, and that's what we're here to talk about. Blackfacts and the Wakanda technology platform. As you see, technology by us, for us, about us. And we have a pretty audacious statement here about creating the future of Black history and leveraging technology to uplift the race. You're going to hear a whole lot about how I got into technology and things that I did as a Black software developer. So I'm not going to get too much into my background at this point as far as an introduction, other than to say that ultimately I, am once upon a time was, young Black man, kid from the hood in the neighborhood that was formerly called Do or Die Bed-Stuy. A little different now, but it is what it is. I'm the technology and vision side of the house, and my main objectives are to show you examples of what's possible if you want to get on the idea of creating technology from a Black perspective, and to get you to think outside the box, because I think you'll see things that no one else has been talking about or doing, and ultimately to get you and inspire you to consider taking action, to create something, not just to be a user, but a creator of technology. Dale?
And my name is Dale Dowdy, and I'm more of the business side of Blackfacts.com. Ken and I met years ago in college. He was a DJ, actually, and he happened to be a Kappa, and I was a Sigma. Don't ask me how we ended up, wanting to be friends after all that in the Boston area. But I was a hacker in high school, ended up going to BU, started my first company while I was in college, and Ken and I and several of our friends became a part of a cadre of Black technologists back in the 90s. And we've been working on numerous projects together over the years, one of which is a foundation project, which is Blackfacts.com. And I'll jump in later on in the presentation and tell you a little bit about what we're doing today.
All righty. So let me share a 2-minute story about something that happened in 1995. At the dawn of the information age.
February is Black History Month, and today Red Sox all-star first baseman Mo Vaughn and the Boston Public Library unveiled a new CD-ROM, one guaranteed to enrich and inspire the lives of all children and adults. News Center 5's Pam Cross reports.
The wooden golf tee was invented by a Black Bostonian. I didn't know that before I worked on the product.
It looks like a computer game, but surprise, this is a history lesson. Boston's Black history, to be specific. The creators, Inner City Software, took this 1992 book, authored by Robert Hayden, and transformed it to CD-ROM.
I call them the MTV generation. And, books aren't really cool. Books aren't that popular. After, playing with the program a little, they might, go down to the library and actually get the book and look at that too.
You can find the program at some Boston Library branches and at a few Shawmut Bank locations. They kicked in the funds. This is the Mo Vaughn Community Youth Center.
It shows other prominent, Black figures in this community that aren't athletes, that are just people who go out and do a good job of what they're doing.
I like that it teaches you a lot of things that I can't find in my history book in school. Like, it shows me a lot of things that I won't find in the history book.
Touchscreens are also in use at the Children's Museum. Vision Computers donated these units, but any school already equipped with computers can share the wealth.
Inner City Software is giving them to any school in the metropolitan Boston area that can run the software. In any youth center or program.
African American history as close as a keystroke. The facts are the same, but now they're available at the touch of a button. In Dorchester, I'm Pam Cross, News Center 5.
February is...
Okay, so the 350 Years of History program was publicly displayed at the the Boston Public Library and the Children's Museum on touch-screen kiosks. It was in the news and demonstrated on local television, even presented it at the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture in Harlem. But unfortunately, after 2 years of meetings with the school system due to politics and the fact that none of the schools in the Black communities had CD-ROM capable computers, it never got into the school system. And I don't know if you guys noticed our Black Facts Matter t-shirts. This is what some of the kids were wearing. We made these, when we did demonstrations at the schools. And that's what the program looked like, 1995. So now, word of warning. You're about to see a whole lot of images and examples to follow. And in the interest of time, I'm just going to mention them very briefly and move on. If you're interested, everything I'm about to show you is available online. But right now, I just want to give you some food for thought about what being a Black technologist can look like. So the story really starts several years earlier, when I was working as a software tester at a company called Phoenix Technologies and decided to get into programming. I asked the folks at Phoenix if I took coding classes, would they reimburse me? They said, well, you're a software tester and we're more of a hardware company, so they said no. Okay, so I asked them if we could amend my employment agreement so that they would not have any rights on anything I built, and they said yes. Okay, so I purchased 2 books, Programming Windows 3.0 by Charles Petzold and Windows 3, a Developer's Guide, and I taught myself how to code in C and C++. I started putting out programs on the dial-up bulletin board systems that preceded the internet. Just keep in mind, this is 1992. Through what was then called shareware, which today would be close to freemium. Try it, and if you like it, you can buy it. And this is before people were kind of expected to get software for free. So I got on the map with a desktop customization utility for Windows 3.0 called NoDOS that made Windows a little easier to use. When that feature was included in Windows 3.1, I did another one called Group Icon, which ended up in several books in the US and at least one in France. Group Icon got included in this book, Windows Gizmos, which was sold across the country, and it resulted in 2,000 registered users at $20 a piece. My salary then was $43,000, so I quit my job at Phoenix and started doing software full-time under the company name Inner City Software, which was the euphemism for Black software company. And of course, the perfunctory Inner City Software t-shirt, right? The help file for Group Icon was like me, unapologetically Black. And the Windows Gizmos book printed it verbatim, including these thank yous for the inspiration shout outs to not only Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, but to Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan, who at the time was filling stadiums across the country with unapologetically Black messages of Black self-love, self-sufficiency, and empowerment that led to the Million Man March of 1995. As I left Phoenix on very good terms, and they had started getting into the consumer software market, when they realized what I knew how to do now, they actually hired me back as a consultant at twice the rate that I was getting paid as an employee, and I helped them work on this product, Phoenix Facts. And I'm going to show you a picture that's from the inside cover. In Phoenix Facts, I created a little Easter egg, which, yeah, you can't really see it that well. Maybe you can see it, where in the address book, that's my mom's name, Eileen Grandison, and she's working for, wait for it, Malcolm Exporting. So I was making sure that, was leaving breadcrumbs, if nothing else. I realized that this brave new world of technology had no old boy network to get in my way. Neither did it require access to capital to pay for licenses, buildings, and staff in order to get products out there. So I established Inner City Software with the goal of broadcasting both inside and outside the Black community that the computer age represented the closest thing ever to a level playing field, and that there were smart Black folks who would be part of this new economy. And the image on the right is actually circa 1997, showing some of the trainings we were doing for local nonprofits and National Society of Black Engineers. Inner City Software became the tech company in Boston's communities of color. And we put dozens of local organizations and businesses online, from Black businesses like the New England Black Pages and the Black newspaper Bay State Banner, to allied organizations like the Boston Foundation, Northeastern University School of Education, and the Nellie Mae Education Foundation. We also did the websites for Black organizations in other areas like Baltimore's East Harbor CDC and the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation in DC. I also did technology awareness presentations in Connecticut, New York, and as far as Florida for Blacks in Government, Association of Real Estate Brokers, and the Broward Alliance, and mentioned before, National Society of Black Engineers. In the quasi-public and private sector, did websites and other tech work for a bunch of community economic development organizations and the venture capital firm Bessemer Venture Partners, but for some reason was never able to secure external financing from any of them. By 1996, the internet was starting to expand outside the realm of the world of nerds, and I realized that the internet was going to be another game changer, and not just for techies this time, but for everyone. So the obvious thing to do was gather up all the Black tech folks I knew to help me put together websites for Boston's communities of color under the name Inner City Access. We gathered the information, we recruited some young folks to create some graphics, we built the HTML pages, and we hosted it on the high speed, for the time at least, internet connection of a local Black networking company, and we launched Inner City Access for Black History Month 1996. And yes, that picture there is a 9-year-old boy who did part of the presentation of Inner City Access, and you'll get to see him in this second of 2 videos that I want to share with you. Keep in mind, again, this is 96.
Some of Boston's minority neighborhoods are going online for the first time through a new website called Inner City Access. It's part of an effort to make sure the minority community isn't overlooked by the information age. New England Cable News reporter Audrey Laganis has the story.
Far above the city streets, Boston's minority communities are clicking with the sounds of computer keyboards. It's part of an outreach project to get Boston's Black neighborhoods online.
Job requirements are getting higher and higher. Computer literacy is becoming a requirement in areas and industries where it was not before. And if anyone wants to make sure that they are going to save themselves from being part of a permanent underclass, you've got to get, your feet wet in there.
Ken Granderson is an MIT graduate and the owner of a computer software company. He and a group of supporters have created Inner City Access, a new website for Mattapan, Roxbury, and Dorchester.
We think that it's really, really important, especially for people of color who have gotten into the mindset of thinking that, we can't do because, we're locked out. We're not locked out of this. It's open. The chance for communities all over America and all over the world who feel that they've been underrepresented to suddenly say, hey, listen, there's something out there that's pertinent to us.
The organizers of Inner City Access point out that the internet is perhaps the most colorblind form of communication in the world today. It doesn't matter when you're online what your racial or ethnic background is. What's important is your product, what you have to say, and the fact that you're connected.
The founders of Inner City Access say it's uncertainty, not a lack of money, that keeps members of the minority community from learning about the internet.
The knee-jerk reaction is for people to think that it's money. It's not money. There are many, many people in the minority community who have the equivalent, the financial equivalent of computers sitting in their living rooms in the form of televisions, VCRs, stereos. The problem is that computer technology has not presented itself as being important as what's on the TV.
Granderson says it's especially important to get young people online. People like 9-year-old Ian Harris, who likes his computer better than his TV.
I think kids can learn from computers. Usually if you can learn from computers, I think that would be a good thing because you can discover stuff out there in the world like you've never seen before.
The founders of Inner City Access say they'll continue to reach out to young people like Ian and to the rest of the minority community to make sure they don't get bypassed by the information superhighway. In Boston, Audrey Laganis, New England Cable News.
So, to do the HTML for the Inner City Access project, I wanted to use this awesome HTML editor by Vermeer Technologies called Front Page. Front Page was so good that Microsoft went and bought the entire company when I was about to purchase Front Page, which was a good thing because Vermeer was selling it for $500, but when Microsoft learned what I was using it for, they let me get it for half price. After the acquisition, I was helping so many people with Front Page and the Microsoft developer forums that they made me a Microsoft most valued professional. There's no way to tell for sure, but I've always guessed I was probably the first Black MVP. Being an MVP gave me access to all of Microsoft's tools, including their SQL Server database. So I taught myself how to do database programming now and launched Blackfacts Online for Black History Month 1997, with the goal of helping the Black online community see that they were fully included in this brand new internet thing. And this is going to be 1997 Blackfacts buttons, similar to, these are our new ones, our Blackfacts Matter buttons. So besides being in the internet's first Black history encyclopedia, Blackfacts was a pioneer in implementing APIs, because if you can look at the bottom left of the Inner City Access screen, you can see it referring to Blackfacts. So we actually let you look at Blackfacts from Inner City Access. Somewhere around 97 to 99, I worked with Boston's Empowerment Zone and built a business directory to put all the Boston Empowerment Zone businesses online, as well as a site that ran the Empowerment Zone itself. This is a favorite project of Vice President Al Gore, so when he came to town to meet with the Empowerment Zone folks, he got to present the site to him and he shook my hand. Seemed like a nice guy. By 2000, I had a small staff, and I taught them to do database web programming so we could put our neighborhood of Roxbury online at roxbury.com with local news, events, business listings, subject matter expert articles, and community discussions. It so happened at the same time that Gail Snowden, a local Black banking executive, decided to do a community technology education and access project in Roxbury. Roxbury.com became the perfect answer to making sure that graduates of their Community Link program had someplace relevant to go once they learned about computers and got a free computer. So I negotiated a one-year license with the bank to use Roxbury.com for $150,000. For local news, I built a custom content management site for the Black newspaper in Boston, the Bay State Banner, and I did that for them for free in exchange for letting me pull the content that they posted as news to populate the news section for Roxbury.com. And there is a cable news story on YouTube about it, but it's 6 minutes long and the audio is horrible. So I'm just going to show you a few screens from Roxbury.com. There's also 2 presentations on Roxbury.com at my personal site, KenGranderson.com. So these are some screens, and keep in mind, this is 2002. And what you're going to see here is 100% conceived, created by myself, coded by myself, and my crew of Black software developers. Jose Cabrera out in LA, we use him for a lot of our design work. He did the designs. No third-party frameworks or platforms because we build frameworks and platforms for ourselves and others to use, which is why when I see folks get all hyped up about things like Black Twitter, I look at it a little sideways because I don't understand why people don't realize there's no reason you can't build your own Twitter. But anyway, lightning round coming up because I want to get to the demos and stuff with Dale. Roxbury.com homepage, local news, local events, event details posted by a local organization from one of the weekly Thursday night meetings we did for training sessions. This is 4 years before Eventbrite was launched. Local business listings, 2002, 2 years before Yelp was launched. Business details, anyone who's in Boston, and like soul food would remember Bob the Chefs. Community experts, which today they would call blogs, and online community discussions. 2 years before Facebook started. Community discussions were driven by the 6,000 member strong email listserv I ran called Boston Blacks Online. I've been running that since 1996 after the shutdown of the Afro-American culture forums that I managed on CompuServe. Some of that is described in this 2019 book, Black Software, the Internet and Racial Justice from the AfroNet to Black Lives Matter, which is written by Professor Charlton McIlwain at NYU, and that's available actually hardcover, and I just got the audiobook too. So the summary on Roxbury.com. This is one of our urban communities online 18 years ago. We did this soup to nuts. We didn't ask anybody for permission. We did not need anyone to approve it. We decided to do it, and we did it, period. This next slide is intentionally left blank. But I stated earlier in 2002, we licensed the platform built for Roxbury.com for $150,000. However, the emergence of free content management system platforms like WordPress essentially destroyed the custom CMS market opportunity, and globalization cut developer billing rates by 50%. So after 12 years, I sadly shut down Inner City Software in 2004. But the good news is that my former developers moved on to, out of the three of them, one became a career software developer for a mainstream company. Another became a tech consultant out of the UK who helped the Caribbean nation of St. Lucia establish their policies around electronic information. And the third is a developer now of a leading point of sale product for the cannabis industry in Oregon. Speaking of St. Lucia, so after Inner City Software, I had stepped back from doing my own projects for a while and did everything from working on a smoking cessation online community, working for Hewlett Packard, and I built several sites, a social networking site, a custom text messaging platform, and enhanced online recommendation engine for a longtime friend who also happens to be Black, who's launched and purchased several tech ventures. I also worked with Dale on several projects, including a web-based scheduling and shop management system for barbershops and beauty salons, a web-based project management system for a major insurance company, and a scholarship management system for an organization that did scholarships for the beauty industry. Around 2013, one of my former employees, who was St. Lucian, was consulting for the government when the need came up for them to have a good website. So she, and that's right, she was one of my developers in the 90s, connected me to the government, and I architected, built, and stood up the official website for the government of St. Lucia, which is a custom content management system that their various ministries use to publish news, documents, directories, contract announcements, and so on. Basically, towards the end of every year, Dale and I would start thinking about next Black History Month and what we would do with Black Facts, which had been running continuously, but basically unsupervised. And in 2017, we decided to, quote, reboot Black Facts with a new look, a new platform providing new functionality and new goals, far more audacious than simply making sure that Black folks saw themselves reflected on the internet. So today's Black Facts has the big, hairy, audacious goal of nothing less than changing the way that Black history and culture are cataloged and preserved for the future by doing the following: collecting our stories and news digitally, organizing our stories using artificial intelligence, publishing our stories to any device, and then saving our stories forever for future generations. When I say collecting our stories digitally, our platform can pull content from a variety of sources. Like the bottom says, just get it to an electronic device, we can take it from there. With AI, we are application and platform developers, not AI experts. So we leverage existing AI engines to build connections between content items, and our platform is flexible enough to consume data from any AI engine that provides an API. And when I talk about publishing stories to any device, once it's in our system, we can deliver it. We are delivering it, excuse me, because I'm a stickler about, I'm not talk, I have receipts. Everything I talk about, we can demonstrate because we get it done. And we are delivering it through a variety of channels, including the Black Facts website, mobile devices, widgets on third-party websites like this. This is a third-party radio station, and via email, like our daily mailing we call the Black Facts of the Day. Final point, saving our story for future generations. We view our platform as a game changer because while in the past, much of our history has been lost because libraries burn, all griots die, and history books are generally written by the colonizers. However, we own all of our intellectual property and are committed to making it available to the academics, the journalists, and other storytellers who are the ones who are capturing Black history as it unfolds, but they just don't know how to leverage technology like we do. And so we're uniquely positioned to, quote, create the future of Black history with our platform by simply doing what we are already doing, just at a larger scale. And we're doing it without asking anyone because we are in control this time. And with that, I'm going to hand the mic over to my